Hawuba Shimi Hawashai Ba Shema Chakodash, double honors to the apostles, elders, of great millstone in the room that teach well, peace, love, salutation to the elect 144 first fruit. So I'll come back at you another swift lesson in the spirit, and this is pretty much about like correction, all right? And really also too about like forgiving yourselves and understanding how to intake the correction, you could say, but we'll see how the spirit flows and see what I'm really trying to. There's a point I really want to make while reading these things. So let's start off with Proverbs 3:11 real quick. It says, "My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth, even as a father the son in whom he delighteth." So this is we all know the precept too when it goes to the book of Hebrews. It talks about you know who the Lord loves, he chastises as well. Give me 1 second. Slocky, I had to get my book. All right. So says it. Hebrews 12. I want to say. Yeah. Yeah. So I might as well just pull it up real quick, just for the sake of the lesson. Correction. Right. Hebrews 12:7. It says what? It says, if ye endure chastening, the Most High dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? Correct. Like, you should love being corrected, because then if you're an individual who loves doing the right thing or likes being right, then you should enjoy being corrected. I know there are some individuals like kind of like that, who love being right so much that it kind of gets to their head, and they're like, "Well, you're correcting me, but I knew that already." I guess that's where I want to get into. Call Yahweh Shai just said that. So like you want to be right, or you think you're right so much in your mind, when a correction does come, you are extremely hard on yourself, because you thought so you strain so hard to be right, and then a correction comes to set you straight. You're like, but I knew that, but I knew that, but I knew that in your mind, and you're not giving yourself space to forgive yourself. I think that's what I want to talk about here today, because that can be a extremely toxic, like a bad toxicity to you, and you're like poisoning yourself. It's kind of like, older people kind of have this problem sometimes where they can't go to the bathroom, go to the restroom, and it ends up spreading a poison, because their small intestine doesn't work anymore. It ends up spreading the poison around into their body, and they end up succumbing to that disease. You know what I'm saying? I only know this because that's how my grandfather died, back in '02. So that's the same thing when you are stressing yourself so hard to be correct. And there's nothing wrong with always wanting to be correct, because the scriptures say we have an unction to know all things. And also, too, the scriptures do talk about in Sirach, the 17th chapter, I think around the 20, between verses 22, 23, and 24, where it says, offend less, meaning you should know what to do and what not to do. And you should learn from the ancient to understand how to move. But if you're overly stressing on that point and not giving room for when correction does come, and I say again, when it comes, because you will be corrected in all stages of life, in all stages of whatever particular point of the journey of this truth that you're in, correction will fucking come. It will come. And you have to give space for acceptance of the correction, or you're gonna poison yourself, because if you don't give that space for it, you're never gonna be able to forgive yourself. You're always gonna be harping on it, and if you're harping on it, it's gonna start turning into a grudge to the person who did it to you, meaning the one who corrected you. You know what I'm saying? I hope this is making sense right now because this is really what I wanted to get into. All right. Also, too, let me say this when it comes to correction, and it may be pinpointed to you because this is where you have to understand the book of Ecclesiasticus, where it says, a brother may have said it, and he say no more. The brother may not have said it. You may not have even done it. You may have not even said it. Y'all know what scripture I'm talking about. I'm not going to pull it up for the sake of the time. Matter of fact, hold on. I'm going to pull it up. Salaki, the reason I pause all the time is because I go in the physical book and open it up just to see it. Yeah, there we go. Sirach 19. And then I'll pull it up here. I like going into the physical book. You know what I'm saying? I really do. And as of lately, I'm talking now, but as of lately, I try to catch myself when I'm at camp because I'm gonna put this out here because when I'm at camp, I try to catch myself as much as possible. I don't really like reading from my phone no more because that's not how I came up in this truth. And that's not how I saw the apostles and elders when they were preaching in New York and stuff like that. They had their Bibles out, man. Rain, sleet, snow, heat, all that. They had their physical Bibles out. So I try to just keep my sword on me at all times, of course. I'm not saying I see it a lot or anything. I'm just talking about myself. Instead of reading the book on these cellular devices, man, open that sucker up and read that physically. Flip. It's something about the spirit of flipping the pages and getting to where you need to be. You know what I'm saying? There's something about that. It's more intimate than just let me just type in the search bar and the blue letter and find it. Now I get it. Sometimes you may have a brain fart or you cloudy brain, whatever they call it, brain fog. You may forget a script and blue letter kind of helps you. It's like a catalyst to get to it. But okay, I found it in the blue letter. Now open it up in the book. I know I'm just rambling right now, but it's something I've been thinking about because there's nothing like the physical book. There's nothing like it. You know what I'm saying? Go watch that movie, The Book of Eli. There's nothing like it. They wanted the physical book because they were in the end times. There wasn't no technology. Everything was it was destroyed. They had to go back to physical things. So be obsessed with touching and be obsessed with touching and flipping the pages of the physical book, man. Salakia for harping on that, but it's just something that that's the spirit, can't help it. So, going back on topic, this is Sirach chapter 19 and 13. It says, admonish a friend, it may be he hath not done it, but if he have done it, that he do it no more. Right. So say you're an individual who's just big on being right all the fucking time, meaning you don't give space for correction to come because you in your mind knows you're right. But when it comes, you may not even have done it. It's just an admonishment or admonition is just an advice. Even when someone comes to, because an admonition is a form of correction. You have 3 tiers of correction, and they each have a different type of intensity. You have admonish, which is an advice. You have reproof, which is a correction. And then you have a rebuke, which is a stern warning. Fuck up one more time, through. You know what I'm saying? So you have levels to correction. You have levels to being corrected. And if you are stumped on an admonishment that someone may have told you because you always think you're right, even if you didn't do it, you are not doing yourself a favor. You're never forgiving yourself. or that's a sign of someone that never forgives themselves, that struggles with moving on, and that is easily susceptible of holding grudges. And you need to check that shit. You need to check it at the door. Now, if you're someone who's already like this, and what I'm saying, you're in the thick of it, you're in the thick of it, then you need to pray, fast, do what you need to do. You need to get counsel and things of that nature to shake that feeling off or shake that spirit off, because it's a demon. Okay? But you gotta give room for the spirit to mold you on who you are. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't give that room, you will never be able to forgive yourself. You will never be able to comfort yourself, because at the end of the day, you have to be comfortable with what you're doing. Not with what they're doing. You got to be comfortable in your own skin, to say the least. You have to be comfortable with the spirit that the Lord provides you. You have to be comfortable enough with the vessel that He provided you. I'm not saying being comfortable, like the scriptures say, settled on your knees, but comfortable enough to understand I can forgive myself and I can correct this action that I may have been doing wrong, or I can take advice even though it's something I may have not done, but the Spirit may be telling me something that maybe I'm moving in a pattern to where I'm about to do it. Do you see what I'm saying there? So you have to be comfortable enough with forgiving yourself. Therefore, you have to give space for correction to come and shape you into the man that you need to be. All right? So this is Proverbs chapter 3 and 11 again. It says, my son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. Right? Don't be upset with it. That's what it means. Matter of fact, I'll read it in the NLT. It says, my child, don't reject the Lord's discipline and don't be upset when he corrects you. Because when you get upset, like it's like, fuck, man. You know, it's like you're not appreciative. And don't get me wrong, sometimes the first reaction of the flesh is to get upset, but you have to supersede that with the spirit. You have to become more of a spiritual individual. Now, if you struggled with being corrected and then getting upset, that just lets you know that you have to up your spirit, okay? Because correction is a good thing. It saves your life, all right? That brings me to Proverbs 23 and 13. It says, withhold not correction from the child. And aren't we children? You go read the book of 1 John. It says, throughout the whole thing, it says little children, you know, and beloved, all right, meaning the house of David. We are the little children. It says, for if thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die, which beating your child with the rod is a form of correction, all right? And it says he shall not die because what? He's going to listen. And he's not going to do the things what you're punishing him for again, okay? That simple. Proverbs 15 and 10. Correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way. Right. It's grievous, meaning it's taken with a sigh. You know what I'm saying? Like, when that individual is not spiritual enough, that means that's what forsaketh the way is. You're not spiritual enough, because if you had a sense of spirituality, you would be going the right way. You'd be taking the correct path. You know, and correction really is for the ones who are not going down the correct path. But you have to couple that. Let me talk to the ones who are correcting. You got to couple that with comfort too, which I'm about to get into now. But let me finish this. This is Proverbs 15 and 10. It says, correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way, and he that hateth reproof shall die. Kind of what we're going to with the putting the rod to the kid. If he accepts the correction, he doesn't die. Same thing here. If you don't accept the reproof, which reproof means correction, you die, right? Because you're not getting better. You're not getting better. Prime A example, when we watch the New York Knicks versus the Spurs, every bro who was in the group chat I was with in some type of sport chat, every bro was saying, if Wemby don't get his big, lanky, dumbass in the paint. And what did he do? Never get his big, lanky, dumbass in the paint. And therefore, they always lost the lead in the fourth quarter. And then Brunson just went the fuck off. Because you can't do one simple task. You have cost the team Let me not take it that far. It's De'Aaron Fox's fault. But anywho, that's for another topic in a private conversation with bros. But because you can take your lakey ass down the court and get in the post sissy, you know, pussy ass Carl Anthony Town, sweet ass in the paint, post his ass up, you lose the final because you can't take correction. All right? But again, if you're the one giving the correction, you got to understand how to couple it with comfort. So this is Psalms 119 and 50. It says, "This is my comfort in my affliction." Right. Because there has to be a sprinkle of comfort in the correction, because the correction can be an affliction to a brother. It can. Gotta understand that. You can't just pop off on the mouth at a bro and then give him nothing after that. Not every bro can take it like that. Some bros you gotta be gentle with. Some bros you can be stern and you can just give it to them raw and uncut. You know, give him the shot of correction. He'll take it down with no chaser. Some bros you need to put the cranberry juice with the ice, garnish it. You know, put some simple syrup in it, and then drop that one shot in there. Or like you do a dog, you put the peanut butter on the medicine and give it to him, and he devours it. But if you give the medicine to it straight, he's just gonna spit it out. That's how some bros are. But both ways, guess what? They're taking the correction, and you being the individual in the position of correcting, you need to couple that with comfort for some bros. That's all a part of being a teacher as well. Okay? Teachers out there don't, of course, they all don't teach the same, but they do teach. Good teachers teach according to each individual student's attributes. And you really see this in like elementary school teachers, and I'll say like high school teachers, okay? But like elementary school teachers, kids kids personalities are developing during that elementary stage, and those elementary teachers have to peep that and move a certain way and teach a certain way to, I guess, in a sense, aid that personality to do this or do that. Okay, this is how you learn. This is how whatever. I can talk to him this way. I can teach this one this way. This one student can't learn the way this student learns, so I have to have a little bit more one-on-one time with this one. It's the same thing in this truth when you're teaching and also when you're correcting. Okay? Also when you're correcting, you know? So when you're correcting, you got to couple this with comfort, because the correction is affliction. All right? So it says, because a correction can be troubling to hear sometimes. When you hear about yourself, it's a little troubling. All right? So it says, "This is my comfort in my affliction, for thy word hath quickened me." Right? Has boosted my spirit. All right? That's kind of what quickening means, you know. Salakia. Yeah, that's kind of what quickening means. I think it's chaya. Let me see what it is. I think it's chaya in the Hebrew. Which quicken mean? Oh yeah, just quicken. Yeah, it does. Yeah, Salakia. I was just looking at something. So, yeah, it does. Like I was saying, it's chaya. So that's the ch, and then ya, and the chaya right there. So, chayaha. So chaya, all right, which, let's see, says to live, have life. When you take correction correctly, you get life. Because what does the scripture say? The truth shall set thee free. You shall live again. Okay? You shall live again. But the point of the matter, I want to bring this out, it's the comfort, man. And that's why I was saying earlier, you have to be comfortable enough with yourself to have space for the correction, so therefore you can forgive yourself and understand the correction better and move forward, not holding any grudges or anything of that nature, or just be upset at it all the fucking time. You see what I'm saying? And again, even if someone's correcting you, and I'll say this, and they're just dead fucking wrong, you have to have enough space within you. It's like a computer. You want to save things on it, but you can't save it because it's too loaded up with things. Sometimes you got to delete some files out of existence to free up that space. It's the same thing with your spirit, okay? Which is all about moving forward, like it says in the book of Philippians, I think the 3rd chapter. You know, moving, forgetting those things which are from the past and moving forward, marking the prize. You know, so you got to delete some space within your spiritual hard drive, so to leave space for when correction does come, so you can save that and then understand it. You know, and you're not overly packed with certain things that were in the past that you need to get over or that you should have learned from and you haven't done it yet. You see, you gotta have some type of comfortability with yourself in the skin that you're in to accept this and and forgive yourself and move forward. So Lord willing, this was edifying. I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem, Chakodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, a great millstone, the ruling teach well. Peace of salutation to the elect, 144 first fruit. Till the next time, we'll say shalom. Like always, repent, for Yahweh Shai is coming back sooner than what me and you believed. All right, shalom.